Hello everyone, today we will introduce to you ureteroscopy technique. So, what about ureteroscopy? It is an essential skill for our urologists. So, because the equipment of the ureteral software itself is more prone to damage, so beginners in clinical practice, there are relatively few opportunities to get started in person, so there is a suitable teaching mode. For us to quickly master this technology, shorten the learning curve, there is a significant profit. So today we are using this model, simulating a male urogenital system, a construct. So, including this external genitalia, penis, the urethra of the penis, then it can enter the bladder through the lumen. Bilateral ureteral openings, it can enter the ureter, finally reaching the kidneys. So through such a cavity, it can affect the entire urinary system, conduct an endoscopic exploration. So, with ureteroscopy, there are two main functions. One is the diagnostic function. Another is the therapeutic function. If diagnosed, it can be checked through such an endoscope, discovering the urinary system, especially a lesion in the upper urinary tract, including stones. So, for treatment, it is a treatment for related lesions, a gradual extraction including stones, or some biopsies of new organisms in the upper urinary tract, and laser burning. Next, let's talk more specifically about it. Some detailed steps for this soft mirror operation. So, if we get a ureteroscopy, first, we need to check how good is this soft mirror, including its appearance. So the quality of this imaging in vitro, including one of its flexible parts at the head end, an angle of bending, that, if it's an intact ureteroscope, its head can be bent up and down by 270 degrees. So, with such a bending angle, it can ensure that we can detect it in the kidneys. All of this renal pelvis and kidneys. After confirming the integrity of this mirror body, we can proceed an examination procedure for ureteroscopy. So, in order to make the ureteroscopy more convenient, when we explore this upper urinary tract, we all use a ureteral transport sheath. Ureteral transport sheath need to be guided by a mentor, implanted into this ureter. That the implantation of guide wires can be operated under a soft microscope. It can also be operated under a hard mirror. So for beginners, hardware operation may be more direct and convenient. So it is recommended that beginners can use it. Ureteroscopy with a guide wire implantation. Then perform another implantation of a soft lens sheath. Finally, an exploration and operation of ureteroscopy is being carried out. That, if a doctor is proficient in the operation of ureteroscopy, they can also perform the procedure under a flexible ureteroscope, entering this bladder. Then locate the bilateral ureteral openings. So, after inserting the guide wire, finally, insert this ureteral transport sheath. Next, perform an operation on a soft mirror. So what about today? We are under this ureteroscope. Implantation guide wire. Then proceed with an implantation of this ureteral transport sheath. Firstly, the ureteroscopy. Insert into this urethral opening, and then along the entire cavity, entering the bladder. In this urethra, the male urethra will encounter a physiological bend. We can use our ureters. An active bending of a soft mirror. It can smoothly enter this bladder. Entering the bladder. First thing to see, this is the ureteral ridge in front of us. It is a protrusion of the bladder mucosa. So, on both sides of the ureteral pole, it's the opening of the left and right ureters. We can see it. This model shows us two circular ureteral openings. So in our human body, these two ureteral openings, it's a fissure shape. We need to use guide wires after implantation. Perform an implantation of this sheath. After finding this ureteral opening in our patient, we need to insert a guide wire under the endoscope. Insert into the ureteral opening. At this point, we need a helping hand from our assistant. Insert this ureteral guide wire into the lumen of the ureter along the lumen of the flexible endoscope. Implantation depth. We adults usually measure between 25 and 30 centimeters. So you can use this guide wire. Crouch up inside the kidney. So it can be increased by about 10 centimeters appropriately. So, after ensuring the depth, slowly exit the mirror body. Simultaneously maintaining one position of the guide wire unchanged. So during the exit process, need an assistant to remove the guide wire from this urethral opening. Fixed. Don't slip off. After fully exiting the mirror body, we will then insert the ureteral transport sheath along the guide wire. The assistant fixes the other end of the guide wire in place. Then we slowly push in along this guide wire. Entering the position of the ureteral opening again. We may encounter a significant resistance. Then gently push this sheath into the ureter. It is best to control the depth of the ureter under the monitoring of the CB machine. So it can also be explored through our ureteroscopy. Determine the length of this ureter and insert it at the corresponding depth. It is also a relatively simple and safe method. So, after the ureteral transport sheath implantation is completed, we will conduct a soft mirror exploration to observe a condition of the upper urinary tract. During the process of making soft mirrors, the first thing that passes through is the ureteral transport sheath. Then enter the upper urinary tract. You can see a relatively smooth mucosa of the ureter. And if we continue to move forward, can access this system. So what our model enters is the kidney on the right side. We know that this kidney is a form of an external 8 character. So we need to see the various calyces of this kidney. Need to adjust an angle of the mirror body. If for the right calyces of the kidney, we need to perform a mirror body, a clockwise rotation, about 30 degrees. In that case, a bending angle of our soft mirror, just like the plane of our kidneys, located on the same plane. So during the bending process, you can detect various lamps. So after entering this kidney, the first thing we see is an upper lamp. This is a water injection hole in our mold. So, it's actually simulating a channel in our percutaneous nephroscopy. You can explore each one in turn. So, it's the upper one. It can be achieved through the axial rotation of the mirror body. Observe the front and rear group calibers. And then based on the different depths of this mirror body, the position reached determines the observation center. Upper or lower. So, step back a bit from the previous one. What about the head end of our mirror body? It corresponds to the middle calyx of a kidney. Through an active bending of a mirror body, we can explore the ventral side of the middle calyx and the dorsal side of the middle abductor. Step back again. So, about the head end of this mirror body, we have reached the entrance of this lower lamp. Perform active bending again. you can reach the lower calyx of the kidney. So you can also see that the lower calyx also has a simulated channel through the percutaneous kidney. And then the ventral and dorsal calyces. This is the bottom one. Such, we'll focus on the entire kidney, conducted a complete exploration. If stones or new organisms in this system are found at the corresponding location, you can perform corresponding treatment on these lesions. And then after entering the kidneys, we found that, at the upper calyx position of this patient's kidney, there is a simulated stone. So we can perform an operation of using a net basket to remove stones. So we need an assistant. Help us send the net basket to this operation library. And then from inside this mirror, I can see that the head of this net basket is exposed. Then, open this net basket directly in front of this stone. Then take this basket to the back of the stone. Then the assistant slowly tightened the net. Open it again. Open. Collect. Good. And then I saw that the net basket was firmly holding onto this stone. Then we can transport it from our ureteral sheath. Take out this stone. Entering the ureter. At this point, under instructions, seeing this stone coming out of this cavity very smoothly, if encountering some twisted and narrow, the stone has developed latent dullness. Don't drag and drop with violence. Otherwise, it can easily cause damage to the ureter. So once you enter this ureteral transport sheath, just enter a relatively safe channel, so you can quickly remove this stone. So we can get a specimen of a stone. That we have completed one operation of removing stones from the entire ureter under this soft endoscope.